Don't be distracted.
Okay.
Don't be distracted by me.
All right. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hey everybody, this is Jerry Scarlata, and this is episode number 15 of Thrive TV. Today we have Trevis back on with us, and Trevis is going to give us some pointers on drinking water. It seems simple enough. However, you're probably not drinking enough. Even though you're drinking liquid, you're probably not getting what you think out of it. So we're going to cover a little bit of everything, what you should be drinking, how much you should be drinking, what you should not be drinking, maybe, and
The why.
And the why. All right, what you got for us today?
Okay, well, let's start with our bodies are made up of about 60% of our total body weight is water. For example, a 100-pound female is essentially around 60 pounds of her body weight is water weight. Based on what you're looking at in the body, like muscle is about 75 to 80% water. Your bones are about 22%, carry about 22% water. Your adipose or fat tissue is roughly about 25%. Based on those factors, if you're a larger person, you're going to need more water. If you're smaller, you'll need less. So that gives you some idea of how important water is to your body, as well as the food that you take in. Water in your body is broken out into two areas. It's either inside of the cell or intracellular, or outside the cell or extracellular. And that helps helps the movement of nutrients and enzymes and everything in and outside of the cell work better. What we want to look at is your fluid balance. So that's the amount of fluid that's going in through your food and through the liquid you're drinking versus what's going out through sweating, breathing, and the excretion process. Is technically what's going in versus coming out is the net balance of how hydrated you would be. So the average person gets about 1 liter or 4 cups of water from their food. So based on food alone. Mm-hmm. So if you eat a lot of fruit, a lot of vegetables that are raw, those all contain a lot of water versus if you're eating a lot of nuts and seeds and more fats, then you're not getting as much water out of food like that. So when you're looking at overall water intake, consider that you roughly are getting about 1 liter out of a good balanced diet. Based on that, then the rest of your water intake should be the liquid that you're drinking. Now, does coffee, tea, fruit juice, all of that count?
Just because it's liquid.
Right. Mm-hmm. You have to consider the effects that coffee and tea have as far as a diuretic. So what I kind of recommend to people and what I do myself is for every cup of coffee you drink or glass of tea, counter that with equivalent in just plain water because you're going to lose some of that volume from the coffee and tea mm-hmm. through the diuretic process.
Because it's pulling water out of you.
Right.
Which is what diuretic means.
Right. So you're wanting to compensate and kind of balance that a little bit better. So let's talk about fluid loss. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we lose fluids just normally. You will lose fluid out of your body through breathing. Mm-hmm. And just a little bit of the normal evaporation process, even not working out.
Not working out, so right. Just sitting at work.
Just sitting and
at
just
desk,
living.
Not doing anything.
Right, not doing anything. You're going to lose some water that way. So consider that's called an insensible loss. It's what you don't feel and you're not aware of. Uh-huh. And then you have, if you work out or if you're an athlete exercising or playing a game or whatever, then you compound that by sweating and perspiring. So that's part of your body's way of regulating your temperature. And that's what water helps us to do. And then we lose through the excretion process of urinating and all
and
that.
other things.
So the importance, all the different things that water plays a role on in our body is it acts as a solvent. It helps to dissolve our nutrients and the food that we're taking in and transporting that around in your body. It's a catalyst. It helps with the chemical reactions that occur in your cells when they're breaking down things and just your cellular function in and of itself. It lubricates your joints. It acts as a shock absorber in your spinal column, in your eyes, and think about when a woman is pregnant with a child, the amniotic fluid is all water. That's cushioning the baby from all of the, just getting up and walking around and the activity that the mother's doing. So it's really, really important that you have enough water in your body. It's also, like I said, regulates your body temperature, and it's a source of minerals because the water that we drink has calcium and magnesium in it, and it's a way that we get those micronutrients back into our bodies. So you want to make sure that, when you are in a hot environment or you're highly intensely exercising, you're going to need more water than if you weren't doing that. So I wanted to talk about the impact of water on weight loss and performance. But let's talk about dehydration first. So we need to bring that up. So by the time you are sensing thirst, you are already have lost 1 to 2% of your body weight in water, and that is enough to impact your performance. Your brain is 90% made up of water, so if you are beginning into being dehydrated, you're going to be foggy, your cognition's going to be off, your mental function's not going to be optimal because your brain is 90% water. So that's why sometimes when you get up early in the morning, you wake up in a dehydrated state and you start drinking coffee, you haven't filled up that tank. So that's why you kind of feel, kind of foggy and not awake. So a better option than to start pouring in the caffeine to try to wake you up is to take a bottle of water to bed with you and drink that bottle of water first thing in the morning, because you essentially are dehydrated at that point.
Right.
In the morning from being asleep all night. So that's better because then you kind of got a jump start on the day.
And then you also said an interesting thing, that water is a natural lubricant. So when you wake up in the morning, I know at least when I wake up in the morning, my joints are a little more achy than usual. So that can partly be because over the course of the night, your body is dehydrated.
That's how
you're
sensitive.
dehydrated overnight. So when you wake up in the morning, your joints don't move quite as well because you don't have any water in you.
Right, and if you wait till you drink 3 and 4 cups of coffee, like some people do, just think about that. Before you have any water, you're already dehydrated, and you are adding to that dehydration because that coffee is going to pull out what little bit of fluid that you have left in your tank before you're ever, it's like trying to start your car on empty, essentially. So that's why it's really important to get that water in early in the morning when you wake up. It's going to help you, feel better and move better and get that process going a little bit quicker.
Okay.
So let's talk about, people always focus on should I work out on an empty stomach? Should I eat something?
It's always about food.
It's always about food, and they don't think about the water factor, because your performance, like I said, it's proven to be impacted by just 1 to 2% loss in the water that you have in your body. So what I recommend and what I've read is that prior to working out, you should drink about 500 cc's of water about 30 minutes before you train. If you're coming up and you're working out first thing in the morning, I think that's probably more important to have that in than it is to eat something to come up, because
so if you're first thing that you do, wake up, maybe not obviously first thing, but you wake up and within an hour you're going to work out, instead of worrying about getting eggs and bacon in, worry about getting 500 cc's of water, which is roughly
I mean, even if you just drink a bottle of water, that's about
24
half,
ounces,
yeah.
20 ounces, something along
Right,
those lines.
just get that fluid in because you're going to perform better just based on that because you've eaten a good meal the night before. Typically at supper. So you're going to have, your glycogen stores are going to be restored and you're going to have food technically on board to pull from. Water might be the more crucial thing if you're struggling through the workout or just kind of like feeling like, plus when you're working out, you're gonna sweat and you're going to lose even more water.
Yeah. So we had a client, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt
That's
you,
okay.
but we had part of the reason why we're doing this talk, and she had thought of it beforehand anyway, we had a client that came in on a Saturday, this past Saturday I believe, and he was sluggish and not feeling well, and we mentioned to him to make sure that he's eating carbs the night before so that he can have energy. And he was saying that he didn't think that it was working because he was sluggish, so on and so forth. And Trevis asked, what was your water intake this morning? When's the last time you drank any water? And it wasn't any time, even in the night, like it wasn't any time to reset. So, anyway, that's the backstory.
Right. So that's really crucial. Now, if you're an athlete, your needs are going to be completely different than a recreational exerciser. Much higher. You need to. We can talk about that some other time. But this is just basically for the average person who's working out at a gym. So I think everybody drinks while they're working out, or they should, I would hope, bring water along. Then you're sipping on that during the workout, but then you have to think about after you're done training. Water helps in the post-recovery and healing process. So you have to make sure that you can continue to drink water throughout the day to restore all of that. So let's talk about what's the general recommendation for water. So if we're getting roughly a liter of water out of the food that we're taking in, which is about 4 cups, then really if you can just drink 2 more liters in fluid during the day, you're hitting a very good amount of water intake. Right, that's the general recommendations is about a total of 3 liters a day, because you can drink too much water and then that can cause a whole other bunch of issues that you would have to deal with. So as far as that goes, that's about your training. And then I wanted to talk a little bit about how water affects weight loss. So they've proven in some research studies that if you just increase your water intake to a liter or more a day, that's in addition to what you're getting from your food. They're talking about just water intake, that you boost your metabolic rate by doing that. They also, if it's cold water, your body is gonna burn more energy to try to heat that up.
So metabolic rate, meaning your metabolism speeds up, right? And that's that magic word that everyone hears about. Right. Speeding your metabolism up. So drinking water will boost that.
About 23 calories a day more you'll burn just drinking the water. So if you think about that over a year, you will have about a 5-pound deficit or fat loss just from the water intake.
And then you started to talk about cold water, which is called thermohygienics or something like that. Drinking cold water because then your body has to warm it up in order to process it correctly, right? Right,
so you're going to burn even more energy doing that. The other thing that water does, because we always encourage people when they're looking to lose weight to drink, increase their water intake. A good way to do that and to think about that is to drink it before your meals. About 30 minutes before your meal, drink a glass or 2 of water. Then it's going to blunt your appetite.
So you won't eat as much either.
So you won't eat as much when you sit down. Plus, back to the fact that all that it does, intracellular and extracellular, as far as moving nutrients and what's going on inside of your cells, need that water to transport the chemicals and to keep your body functioning optimally. That also helps with weight loss. Okay.
The one thing I will throw out there is about the cold water. So if you're working out outside and you're in extremely hot weather, you don't want your water to be extremely ice cold either. So even though the cold water will help in increasing your metabolism because your body has to warm it up, if you're really hot already and you throw really cold on top of that, your nervous system may not know how to deal with that. If you're really hot and it's really cold water. So watch for that. If you're really hot, you're working out in hot weather, it can be colder water, but don't let it be really cold, ice cold water, because your nervous system may not understand how to deal with that.
Well, I think it causes your stomach to cramp too, don't you think? If you pour in ice cold water in, and keep in mind that your water needs vary based on your climate. So, you know, if you're outside in the sun really training hard, you're going to need a bunch more water than somebody who's inside of an air-conditioned gym working out.
So a couple of quick questions. Do you think, because I know a lot of people put, you know, if they put amino acid powder in their drink, and I don't want it like, not like regular unflavored powder, but like flavored powder, artificially flavored powder, or if they're drinking Gatorade or something along those lines during their workouts. Is that as beneficial as just drinking plain water?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay.
Because you have artificial things in there, I don't think it's as processed as well in your body, because our bodies don't recognize artificial ingredients. I don't think it's going to satisfy your thirst, and I'm sure it probably has to work through that artificialness. Plus the sugar that's in there.
They're diuretics as well.
Right. So, no. When you're training, I think it's best to just use plain water. I think it's better for you.
Yeah.
It seems like it satisfies your thirst better too.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, and it's good for your skin.
Good for your skin.
It's the free anti-aging treatment, they say. You know, it helps your muscles to be elastic. And stretch better, and you know, water is a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need more of it.
The liquid of life.
Yes, exactly.
Nice.
Yeah.
Something new. All right. If you guys have any questions, you can find Trevis on. I do this every time.
Trevis at thriveforstrength.com is my email. I'm on Facebook under Trevis Jansen, Treves is my first name. Probably the only one out there. And then Thrive Nutrition has a Facebook page that you can contact us through.
Yep. All right. And then you can hit the gym up on Twitter at the Thrive Pack. Thank you guys for watching. We appreciate it, and we'll see you next time. Success.